Hello and welcome to my first impressions of the winter 2015 anime season. I'm going to be discussing my thoughts on certain shows after their first episode. So let's get started. Kakuka Graffiti had an interesting first episode. At a first glance and viewing of the PV, it looks like it's all about food. And a lot of the episode was just about food. But there were glimpses of good story tucked in between everything else. We got a little sneak peek at a few storylines and relationships that might be quite entertaining. With some very nice visuals and ideas, this anime could be one to watch. The show will probably revolve around our cast of characters. Hopefully if they play their cards right, they could have 5 or 6 really interesting and well developed characters. The only problem I have with this is something that most slice of life shows fall into. There just isn't enough content to fill a full series. Can they really talk about food for a full TV length series? We'll just have to wait and see. Death Parade was something I was really looking forward to. After its original appearance for Anime Mirai 2013, many people were awaiting a bigger installment of the idea. Thankfully, the first episode of the TV adaptation was just as immersive as the original OVA. Death Parade has a really original premise that lends itself to an episodic show brilliantly. Animation quality is very high, as to be expected from Madhouse. The episode was very well written and the show has a very distinct style. If I had to take my pick now, Death Parade would be my number 1 for this season. The Rolling Girls had a very bizarre first episode. The story was thrown onto the viewer without any explanation and the characters were given a similar treatment. Despite this, it didn't feel like a detriment to the show. Sure, it felt random, but I don't think it will continue to feel as random as the story progresses. And of course, the visuals were very nice. A lot of wacky animation and a bright colour palette made the first episode really stand out. If they can find time to develop their characters and solidify their story, then it might turn out to be an entertaining show. Kunihiko Ikuhara is splitting opinions once again with his show Yuri Arashi. Known for his bizarre directing style, it was pretty obvious that we wouldn't have a normal show on our hands here. The first episode didn't really give us much to go on. There wasn't much of a plot introduced. Characters were very briefly focused on and we were only shown what I presume was a very small part of the world. But the high animation quality and interesting use of the characters gave me the feeling that this show could go somewhere. His previous show Penguin Drum suffered a lot from pacing issues, and that had double the episode count. I really hope the staff can do something with this project. It would be very refreshing. Sengoku Musou is smack bang in the middle of good and bad. The story is mildly entertaining, the animation peaks at points but drops at points, and the characters can be entertaining. It has some very good action scenes but could possibly fall into the trap of not having an interesting story. Most of my viewing experience this season has been being disappointed by the amount of low quality ecchi shows. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy a well made ecchi show like High School of the Dead, but when animation is rushed, story is abandoned and cliches are machine gunned in without irony. Starting with Shinmai, Maou no Testament, possibly the least imaginative show I've watched in a long time. The show offered nothing new, characters were really not characters and the story was barely excusable. They set up what seemed like a plot to a hentai, and in the last few minutes of the show, they just threw in magic. Absolute Juuou was next and didn't offer anything more original. Similar poor animation quality, generic characters, and another completely pointless plot. Another extremely poor made production that makes you wonder why these things are being funded. Junketsu no Maria did have somewhat of an original plot, and the characters didn't feel like 1D dimensional copy and pastes. It was by no means great and will not break any boundaries, but it was watchable. The problem this show had was its ridiculous use of sexual references and profanity. It was way past the point of making political points and far from being fan service. It was just irritating to watch and didn't fit in with the story at all. 2 more utterly forgettable anime this season were Juuou Mujin no Fafnir and Seiken Tsukai no World Break. These shows really offer nothing new or original. They're just here to make some money on a low budget and then be forgotten. But this season does have some good shows. I'm looking forward to how the season pans out, and if some of the shows can continue to impress me. And of course we still have a number of really good leftovers from last season. Overall, this should be a decent season. So thank you very much for watching my video. If you did enjoy this video, please click the like button or share it around. And if you want to watch more of my videos, you can click subscribe or visit my channel.